What's up, everyone? Nick here. This is going to be another Sunday Market Blitz review. So all we're doing here is reviewing the analysis that we put out last Sunday and seeing how it played out. Right, we're going to go over what the expectations were. We're going to cover the descriptions here, and then see how it played out, and then give you guys some insight into this next week before we reanalyze everything on Sunday. So let's start this off how we start off the Sunday Market Blitz, analyzing DXY. And we do this because it's the US dollar, essentially, right? It shows us where the strength is, if the dollar is moving up or down, if it's more bullish, more bearish. And that gives us insight as to where the rest of the market could be moving. Because if the dollar is moving, in one direction pretty hard, then a lot of the market is going to follow because the dollar is the reserve currency. It makes up for 80% of all trade. And that's massive. This is a huge market. It's the biggest market, right? We're dealing with currencies here. So that's got a lot of weight to it. If the dollar starts to move, you'll see typically a lot of the other majors will start to move as well. Okay, so we were pretty much bullish here. We're moving through this range. The two most likely scenarios was that this 4-hour trend was going to continue bullish. We're looking for a new high established above 96.35 with a pullback, and the next structure point with a higher low just above this level, right? Testing and reacting as new support. So that's really what we wanted to see. It would be nice to see that nice break, retest, confirmation of structure, and then a continuation towards a new high, the prior high, and also key resistance at 97.25. So that was one likely scenario. The other was that price action was going to reject off this level, find significant resistance here, as it has in the past, because these two zones highlight a key range. So we were expecting that as well, right? We weren't going to turn an eye to that. We definitely wanted to be aware that this range was here and that ranging could be a likely scenario if price action just started bouncing. Okay, so let's see how it played out. Okay, and it did exactly that. So we found resistance here at 96.35, pushed lower, hit 95.8, found support there, and now we're moving back up. So it's deciding that it wants to range. There's no real trend here while we're between these two levels. So for those of you that have kind of been on these analyses before, you guys can see that we're going to wait for either this same scenario here, right, a higher low above 96.35, or a lower high below 95.8 to consider this either bullish or bearish. Okay, before we get any of that, we're still pretty much ranging. So yeah, that's where we're at. But we'll have more to say about this on Sunday. I'll reanalyze all of this, give you guys a whole new breakdown, and we'll see what the potential is. But until then, let's move over to AU. Let's see what AU was doing for us at the beginning of last week, right? So we were moving down, but then we saw a nice transition here, right? Because this was a lower high. Price action broke through that. So it was looking more bullish, but then we found massive resistance at 0.72. It's coming back down. We touched 0.71. We're finding a little bit of support here. So this is an interesting area. For us to continue bearish with this, obviously bearish trend here, we want to see price action get below 0.71, spot a lower high, and then continue lower. If we were to continue bullish, we want to see a higher low above 0.72. Now, this is a pretty big range. There's definite trades within this, but keep in mind those are going to be on lower time frame trends only. We're focusing on the 4-hour here. So for this structure, based on what we've been seeing, these are the safest bets to consider it either still bullish or newly bearish. So that's really what we wanted to see. Obviously, there are other things happening between these levels, though. So let's just play this forward, see how it turned out. So this decided to stay bullish. We found support at 0.71, had some nice engulfings, lower time frame transitions in there, and then this carried price action up towards resistance at 0.72, where we consolidated for a little bit. We struggled pretty hard to break this level and to form any sort of structure. So it kind of just reversed, pretty big volume. This could be the next point where we find a higher low, but this would require new analysis, and we'd have to break this down. So right now, it went to follow trade path 1, right, this blue trade path here, but it's only about halfway through. So we're looking for the next structure point. But yeah, we'll get to this on Sunday. Let's jump over to AJ. This was very similar to AU. However, there was a lot more volume. Notice the range, how far apart these two are. 83.25 as resistance, 81.5 as support. Okay, we were bearish just like on AU. We had a nice channel, nice bearish channel. We're breaking support levels till finally we found some massive support at 80.40 right here. Came down, tested it, pulled right back, and then we actually got our 4-hour transition right here once this lower high was broken. Essentially this set of highs right here. Once price action popped above, gave us a higher low just above 81.5. That was then deemed a full transition after it started, confirming over here and really following through with that momentum. So from 81.5, we shot all the way to our weekly actually at 83.25, and then rejected from there, sending us back towards 81.5. So notice this is turning into what looks like a high volume range. Right? We're a couple touches away. We have enough here at support, more than 3 touches of support. We need quite a few more on resistance to consider this a serious range. Until then, it's very likely that we're going to head back up, test the weekly again, and then we'll spot some sort of reaction. For us to consider this bearish, though, we need to break 81.5, and we're pretty far from that happening. Honestly, I'm only really looking for bullish scenarios, so I'm waiting for a higher low above the weekly, or waiting for price action just push towards the weekly and then reject from there. So let's see how this played out. Okay, it shot to the weekly, 83.25. We've been rejecting off that point, and it looks like it's about to head lower. So there could be actually a pretty early trade next week on this. Looks like we're about to break a level. Maybe we'll catch a nice retest on the 1 hour, 30 minute, head back lower to 81.5. But right now it looks like it's definitely going to head back down. It definitely failed to break 83.25 resistance, right? So again, this is setting up pretty nicely. It's following trade path 1 here, the blue trade path. So we'll cover this again Sunday. But that's actually going to be pretty high on the list. You could tell already. Pretty close to a trade scenario on the close of Friday. So here we are on UJ, looking primarily bullish. Okay, we're following a nice trend here. Higher highs, higher lows, breaking resistance, finding support at key levels. So this is looking pretty good, right? And we recently just touched 115. Price action fell to that zone, found good support, rejected pretty hard. Nice engulfing right there. So the most likely was obviously we're going to reach 116.25, and then it was either going to break. So continuing with the bullish trend, looking for a higher low above, and then we'll enter long target 117, or price action smashes into 116.25 and then rejects, sending price action back down towards 115. So both of these were likely scenarios, but really it just depended on reactions around this key level. So let's see how this played out. Okay, it actually failed to push higher, actually just gave us a lower high right here and then dumped, fell right back to 115, but technically this level is still in play, right? It's still valid. It is not really a confirmed break yet. We haven't gotten a lower high below. So it's still a little too early to tell. This is definitely downward sloping, right? Price action, the volume's dropping. We're getting squeezed into this zone here. So it could break or it could bounce. I'm going to reanalyze this and then present it to you guys before or on Sunday before the blitz, so we can get a better idea as to where this is going to go. But yeah, it's either going to probably push up off this level or we're going to break lower, start looking for some lower highs. So that's UJ. Let's take a look at EJ. All right, so EJ was kind of still ugly, right? We were very overextended once we saw this push here. We were pretty bullish. Finally formed structure once we hit 130 or close to it, and then it was pulling back. So we were just trying to keep it super simple. What do we need to see in order to get into any scenario here? So for a bullish scenario, very clearly we wanted to see a higher low above 131.45, right? That'd be a nice break of resistance, confirming structure, giving us a higher low, and then we could enter long on that, start targeting prior highs and key resistance levels. Or if we saw pretty good rejection off resistance at 131.45. That would kind of validate this level pretty well. Would be a nice spot for a lower high, and then we would be able to consider short opportunities back down towards 130. So pretty straightforward, nothing crazy. It also could have just started consolidating, not really showing as much. But again, we highlight trade scenarios that are what we would consider perfect scenarios. So enough confirmations, things that would give us confidence in the trade itself. So obviously there's a lot of ways price action could play out, but these are the ones that we need to see or would want to see for what we consider a perfect trade. Okay, so let's see what happened. Price action pushed up to 130.145, our key resistance level. It validated right here, validated this this higher low, started pushing lower. We rejected pretty hard off that, and now we're back down towards 130. So nice transition on that point. Okay, good rejection here at 130.145. You know, and then tons of confirmations on the way down. So 130 is the next level, right? This is how price action is going to react here. It's going to determine, you know, where we go for next week. Either we're going to find some support here, or we're going to push lower. Then we're looking for lower highs below. But either way, yeah, this turned out to be a pretty good transition, right? Pushed lower, came back, validated resistance, and then it's heading lower. So yeah, we'll see where this goes next week. Could be some good setups in there as well. But let's jump over to gold for the final pair, see where we're at. So we were pretty bullish overall. We did have serious moments of consolidation here, crazy range in here, right? And then low volume pretty much throughout here as well. But right now we're at a high, right? A little bit overextended, right? We were pretty much waiting for price action to react at this resistance level, 1865. And it was very likely that we were just going to curve out here, that we were going to find a massive resistance, head lower, find our next structure point closer to 1825, or this 4-hour trend, you know, stayed pretty strong. We broke through 1865, you know, formed a nice high, came back down, formed structure, higher low, and then pushed up. There'd be a good long opportunity in there. So we're really just waiting for that reaction. So let's see how it played out. Okay, and it did this. Pushed up, hit 1865, rejected at first, but it didn't follow through. It really just came back to, you know, this point here around 1850, gained some momentum, and then took off. So now we're in a really good spot because now we're waiting for structure, new structure above 1865. So it's going to be a great opportunity after this consolidation. If it pulls back, find some support here, it gives us a higher low. We could enter long on that all day if we spot the right confirmations, and then we could target higher towards 1900, maybe even 2000. We'll see. We got to reanalyze this, throw some fibs on it, see what the potential is for this move. But yeah, pretty crazy. We haven't been above this 1865 level in quite a while. So to see structure finally above that would be pretty exciting. Could get a really nice trade up to key levels. But until then, yeah, this is where we're at. Gold's on the move. So guys, that's another review. Pretty good layout on these pairs. We had some pretty accurate analysis. Some played out, some are kind of like mid-trade. Either way, we could already tell that there's some pretty good setups going into next week. So, you know, hopefully you guys got some value out of this. But if you want to join again, see us this Sunday Market Blitz. Until then, you know, take care, guys. Peace.